I rise in extreme opposition to the second part of the omnibus bill, and it's time for us to go through the process, take our time, and find a new Speaker of the House.
God help us. The House Republican majority is a dysfunctional embarrassment.
This is not what it's supposed to be. This is not what adults in the room do.
If you think your job in life is to grandstand and complain while the other team runs over you, they're doing a great job.
I'm sick and tired of it. As a Republican, as an American citizen, I want them to get to work. I love Speaker Johnson. Who would be better than him, MTG? What is your plan?
What person who could actually pass a psychiatric competency test would want to lead a group that includes Matt Gaetz and Bob Good?
This is why conservatives call the GOP the stupid party, by the way.
That MAGA didn't go crazy. That MAGA went MAGA. It all started when Wisconsin Congressman Mike Gallagher announced his early resignation from Congress. And why would he want to leave? It seems like so much fun.
It is the worst year of the 9 years and 3 months that I've been in Congress. And having talked to former members, it's the worst year in 40, 50 years to be in Congress.
They're fleeing like roaches when the lights come on, or the junior high girls at Pentagon City when I took off my triple fat goose. By the way, that was Colorado Congressman Ken Buck, who also resigned early from Congress, further shrinking the GOP majority to 217 to 213, meaning Republicans could only afford a single defection on any vote if Democrats vote together. But wait, it gets better.
Mike Gallagher made an affirmative decision to give Democrats more power, since the GOP majority will now be down to 1. So, what if someone has a delayed flight, gets sick? There is zero room for error. And this is key. Had Gallagher walked out today, Wisconsin would have been able to have a special emergency election to fill his seat. But now, because he's putting it off till April 19th, it remains vacant until next year. Again, this pains me to say this. Thanks, Mike. Hope future Speaker Hakeem Jeffries sent you a nice fruit basket today.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. And I like the smug pain of that even better. It's kind of like watching shots of the losing fans after their school is sent home from March Madness. Matter of fact, can I see some more of that?
By summer, I think there's a distinct possibility that Democrats will have the House majority. The press, the liberals, they're salivating. This is like taking candy from a baby. Before Gallagher's announcement, our own Chad Pergram wrote, there will be 432 members, 218 Republicans to 214 Democrats. The margin is 4 seats, but the GOP cannot lose 2 votes and still pass a bill without help from across the aisle. Again, tie votes come into play. Republicans will be down to only a solitary vote to spare. In other words, now they don't have any votes to spare.
More.
Soon there's going to be no need to worry about motions to vacate the Speaker's chair, because they won't have a chair to vacate.
About that. See, we sent in our very special wrecking ball, Marjorie Taylor Greene, codenamed Capitol Hill Karen, to take care of that for us. That's right. The very same day, Marge filed a motion to boot Mike Johnson from the speakership, a reaction to the government funding bill from the far right of the House Republican Conference.
I rise in extreme opposition to the second part of the omnibus bill. No Republican in the House of Representatives in good conscience can vote for this bill. It is a complete departure of all of our principles, especially if you call yourself pro-life. This bill funds full-term abortion. This is not a Republican bill. This is a Chuck Schumer, Democrat-controlled bill coming from the House majority that is supposed to be controlled by Republicans, but yet our majority has been completely
Members are
handed
reminded
over
to
to
direct their
Democrats.
remarks to the chair, please.
Madam Speaker, it is the will of our voters, and it is the will of Republicans across the country that this bill should not be brought to the floor, that this bill will absolutely destroy our majority, and will tell every single one of our voters that this majority is a failure. This is the bill that the White House cannot wait to sign into law. This is the bill.
You ever been caught next to somebody in the middle of a public freakout? Okay, I just want y'all to watch that again and focus on Chip Roy behind her.
The lady from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in extreme opposition to the second part of the omnibus bill. No Republican in the House of Representatives in good conscience can vote for this bill. It is a complete departure of all of our principles, especially if you call yourself pro-life. This bill funds full-term abortion. This is not a Republican bill. This is a Chuck Schumer, Democrat-controlled bill coming from the House majority that is supposed to be controlled by Republicans, but yet our majority has been completely
Members are
handed over
reminded to direct their
Democrats.
remarks to the chair. Please.
Madam Speaker, it is the will of our voters, and it is the will of Republicans across the country that...
He like, what? Why y'all sit me here? Ain't nobody gonna take the mic? Nobody gonna cut her off or nothing? People weren't that shocked when Kanye took the mic from Taylor Swift or from Mike Myers that time. We actually saw this coming. This was Greene with noted criminal Steve Bannon just days before.
This does happen to pass today or over the weekend. What then is the fate if we control the House, but we have a speaker that is basically pushing and passing the Democrats' agenda? What do you recommend should be the fate of Mike Johnson?
We are making that decision on a minute-by-minute basis today, Steve, and I think you can stay tuned.
Will you lead the effort to call for a motion to vacate?
Steve, we are going to be making decisions on a minute-by-minute basis today, and I urge you to watch and see what happens.
Ouch, it sounded like Marshawn Lynch.
I'm here so I won't get fined. 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 I'm just here so I won't get fined. Hey, I'm here so I won't get fined.
See, that's the thing about crazy. It's not really on anybody's team. Sure, it might work out today or next week. It might be fun in the short term, but it's definitely not marriage material. Sorry, back to the video. Take it away, Marge.
I filed the motion to vacate today, but it's more of a warning and a pink slip. I respect our conference. I've paid all my dues to my conference. I'm a member in good standing.
A member in good standing? What do you have to do to be in bad standing?
Yeah, go Trump!
Apparently marched to the stage and slapped somebody with the gavel. She's done everything but Wakanda kneel for Black lives. But she would do that if Trump told her to.
Have you talked to Trump? Have you talked to Trump about this?
I have not talked to President Trump about this.
Oh, you gonna be in trouble.
I filed the motion to vacate today, but it's more of a warning and a pink slip. I respect our conference. I've paid all my dues to my conference. I'm a member in good standing, and I do not wish to inflict pain on our conference and to throw the House in chaos. But this is basically a warning, and it's time for us to go through the process, take our time, and find a new Speaker of the House that will stand with Republicans and our Republican majority instead of standing with the Democrats.
That's what I'm talking about, Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's what I'm talking about. Chaos and madness. You know what? I owe you a huge apology. Here I am thinking you were here to work for conservative values, but you're here for the drama and the anarchy. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the friend who takes out the phone when you need backup and then posts it to Instagram without even tagging you. Not only do I not feel bad for the GOP, they deserve every bit of this. They are the ones who made the deal with the Freedom Caucus and turned their party over to the Donald Trump Defense Fund. That MAGA didn't go crazy. That MAGA went MAGA. And the fallout was glorious.
I consider Marjorie Taylor Greene to be my friend. She's still my friend.
And that's where you messed up right there.
But she just made a big mistake. You know, trying to vacate Mike Johnson's, I totally oppose that. Listen, Mike is a very good man. He begins every day from the right place. He's deeply principled. He's like a brother to me. And to think that that one of our Republican colleagues would call for his ouster right now. It's abhorrent to me.
Look, you know, Marjorie supported Kevin McCarthy, so she understands how chaotic and destructive it is to vacate the chair.
And that's why we applaud it.
You know, when Matt Gaetz and 7 other Republicans teamed up with 208 Democrats to remove Speaker McCarthy, they created chaos and really were destructive to the Congress, to the institution. And so I think this is unnecessary. I think it's idiotic, frankly. And I think it does nothing to actually advance the conservative movement or serve the American people. The bottom line is we're in a divided government. We're not going to get everything we want. Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader. Joe Biden is the president. The only way to really advance the conservative movement is to win elections. And doing stunts like this actually undermines our ability to win elections.
Well, it'll probably get her reelected, though.
Sure, in an R+30, but you know what? The difference between having a Republican majority and not is seats like mine. It doesn't help the conference, and it certainly doesn't help the country when we engage in this inter-party fight.
You know what? Not sad enough.
God help us. The House Republican majority is a dysfunctional embarrassment. I mean, Speaker Johnson didn't ask for this job. He stepped up when the House couldn't elect a replacement for Kevin McCarthy. He's trying to manage an unmanageable conference. Republicans need to understand that they control 1/2 of one branch of government, and now they're going to control it by one vote. You can't impose your will on the entire government when you have 1/2 of one branch of government with one vote. The way, if you want, I want to cut spending too. I want to do all these things. If you want to do that, there's a simple way to do it: win elections. Don't nominate lunatics. You know, get people who can actually win a general election, not just a Republican primary. Take back the Senate. Take back the White House. That's how Biden got the spending through. So that's how, if we want to cut the spending, that's how you get to do it. You can't do it by having this internal chaos.
Perfect. Now show me more.
As I'm listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I hear her say, there's a video that everyone is focused on. That video is of illegal immigrants rushing our border. It is a video about 6 minutes ago we were set to play. It is a video that you're not seeing right now because instead we are talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. It raises the question, she didn't make this live, so nothing happens for 2 weeks. Is this a fundraising exercise so you can go back to your district for 2 weeks and fundraise off of it? What's the motive here?
More!
The bills have been worse since McCarthy was gone. The Democrats are in greater control. The hardliners on the right have done nothing except make it worse. The Freedom Caucus right now has been a disaster in public policy terms. If you think your job in life is to grandstand and complain while the other team runs over you, they're doing a great job.
Even Newt is embarrassed. And people been calling him Newt for 80 years. More!
I feel we are seeing yet another tantrum by a tiny faction of that conference that is disrupting the entire machine that we just exhaustively waited for to get back on track. And here we are again, watching someone steal the time, steal the audio, steal the limelight, steal the attention. She says we should have our attention on the illegals streaming across the border, on a million other things. No, our attention was on you while you gave a presser. I'm sick and tired of it. As a Republican, as an American citizen, I want them to get to work. I love Speaker Johnson. Who would be better than him, MTG? What is your plan? And I don't want my legislature taking 2 days up to vote for that, to figure everything out, to look incompetent during a presidential election year. This is the last thing I want to be subjected with. This is, it's frankly, at a minimum, it's disappointing.
More!
What person that can pass a competency test would want to be the Speaker of the House? What person who could actually pass a psychiatric competency test would want to lead a group that includes Matt Gaetz and Bob Good and some of the other people that you just showed? I mean, Mike Johnson's as good as it got. You had a speaker. Remember, you had Kevin McCarthy, and you wanted to get rid of him, and Jimmy Jordan wasn't good enough, and Tom Emmer wasn't good enough, and Steve Scalise. So, no, you got Mike Johnson.
More!
You know, and also, Rob, let me just talk back to this vacate measure. This was an asinine thing pushed forth by Matt Gaetz because he had a rift with McCarthy, And then he did also, just sadly enough, what I just got a text not 30 minutes ago from Marjorie saying, I'm wanting to raise money on this. Matt Gaetz raised money the whole week or the whole time he was creating chaos. This is not what it's supposed to be. This is not what adults in the room do.
Oh, really? Allow me to clutch my imaginary chain. Marjorie Taylor Greene has only been fundraising off publicity stunts ever since she followed the Parkland kids on Capitol Hill. That's all we know her to do. But oh, now it's a problem. What you gonna tell me next? George Santos is too good for this? No! When pretty boy George is embarrassed, I'm speechless. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? Something I've never done before. I'm gonna give Laura Ingraham the last word.
This is why conservatives call the GOP the stupid party, by the way.
I mean, she's not wrong.